Hey everyone, Liam from Solitude here, and in this video today, I'm going to take you through the most coveted Spotify playlist to be on for Australian artists. Streaming services are the main way that people consume music nowadays, and I want to take a look at where the most successful artists are being found. So in years gone by, it would be extremely beneficial if you were an up-and-coming Australian artist to get played on a radio station like Triple J, or Video Hits, or Rage, or something like that. These were the main sort of places that you could be discovered by music fans, and you had to really rely on them. The internet has opened up all sorts of avenues for musicians to be found now, and streaming services are where you can find the music that they produce. Spotify is by far the most popular service and has the greatest market share. Whether or not you ethically agree with some of the things that they do, and I personally don't, you have to at least admit they've created quite a good platform for discovery. So one of the main way that people find music nowadays on Spotify is through playlists. Now on Spotify, there are two types of playlists that they make, I believe. The first type is the standard made by Spotify playlist. These playlists appear to be made by a person or a team and have specifically chosen songs to be on that list. Many of these playlists will constantly update, maybe once a week or once a month, consistently freshening up the sound. The other type of playlist that I believe is relatively new is what I would call a made for playlist. This playlist is also made by Spotify, but it's different in that it uses the algorithm to create a playlist for you. So if I've consistently clicked on music in a specific sound or genre, it will know what I like and will be able to cater a playlist for me according to the title of this playlist. You can also make your own playlists on Spotify too, and anyone can share them abroad. So I'm going to talk about the main ones that I think that you want to get on if you're an Australian up-and-coming artist. The biggest playlist to get on if you're an Australian artist is definitely Hot Hits Australia. This playlist has roughly 1.3 million people following it, and on the playlist it's a mix of Australian and international artists. I believe that they cater this towards what's trending and music being put out by artists that they already know are quite successful. So it could be hard to get on here if you're an up-and-coming artist, but if you get on here, you know you've made it. And this one's a Spotify curated playlist as well, so they're specifically picking the songs that go on there. The second biggest playlist that I think Australian artists would want to get onto is New Music Fridays, Australia and New Zealand. This is followed by about 396,000 people. It's curated by Spotify, and it also has international artists on there too, but it updates more regularly every Friday as it suggests, and it looks a little bit more willing to put alternative Australian music on there as opposed to the Hot Hits one. Now, Spotify playlist that I believe any up-and-coming independent Australian artist should be aspiring to get on and is playing local shows and trying to build an audience is Local Noise. Now this one's only followed by 57,000 users, but it seems to be the one that's a little bit of a step below the previous two that I've mentioned, but still has a bit of a reputation. There's some really good names on here of some up and coming artists I've noticed, and it doesn't seem that far-fetched to be a local band getting on here. This one's also curated by Spotify, so they're hand choosing the songs that get on there. Now let's talk about some made for playlists. Now remember, these are the ones that use your algorithm, so they're not specifically chosen to be on there, but if you have a song that's popping up in Spotify's algorithm and they can see a user that might like your sound, they could recommend it in this playlist for you. The first one I point out is the local list. This one's followed by about 120,000 people, and it specifically puts new Australian music on there, so anyone's a chance of getting on there on any given day if you're an Australian artist. And remember, it's contingent on the algorithm, so if your song is popping off and you play rock music, for example, and I'm a user that likes to click on rock music, then there's a chance it could get in this playlist for me. The next one like this that I would try and get on if I was an up-and-coming Australian artist would be Streets of Your Town. This one's only followed by 51,000 people, but it's got a good mix of old and new Australian music and stuff that kind of focuses on Australiana and Australian culture. Once again, it's a made for playlist, so it's curated to what I like if I'm a user, and if I like Australian stuff and Australian sounding content, then it's likely your song that you put on that might be kind of like Australian sounding could pop on this list. Now, another playlist that's not made by Spotify and it's not made for either, and it's made by a user that I think would be really great for an Australian artist to get on, is simply Triple J's playlist, and it's called Triple J New Music Hit List. Now, of course, Triple J is the Australia-wide government-funded radio station that gets played in most large cities around the country. It's a coveted station to get played on for radio, but they also have quite a strong social media following and Spotify game. Their hit list has 310,000 follows, and it's a mix of Australian and international stuff, but obviously caters more towards alternative Australian music. So if you're getting on this playlist, you're probably getting played on Triple J already, but it wouldn't hurt to get on both. Now, Triple J also makes a Triple J Unearthed playlist and a Double J playlist, so the same goes for those two. If you're getting played on those radio stations, that's already a great start, but getting on their Spotify playlist is a bonus. And these two playlists are followed by about 15 or 13,000 people respectively. So if you're an up-and-coming Australian artist or musician, I would consider looking into this a little bit more and seeing how you can eventually get on one of these playlists one day and try and work on that as your goal. Specifically, if you're struggling to get played on a platform like Triple J, which I know a lot of people are, and a lot of people feel like it's a bit of a gatekeeper and they can't get on there. Well, you know, maybe Spotify is just another option. At the end of the day, I guess they're just another gatekeeper, but hey, 2 gatekeepers are better than 1. So you've got another shot there. Thanks for checking out this video, everyone. If you liked what you watched today, please consider subscribing, and I hope I'll see you again soon. Thanks, bye.